And an intensifying and expanding campaign in the Middle East, U.S. forces escalating their strikes on Iranian air defenses and missile sites as commanders say Operation Epic Fury is hitting the terror regime's capabilities hard. Good morning. I'm Dana Perino. Bill's off today. Hi, Martha. Thank you.
Hi there, Dana. Great to be with you. Good morning, everybody. I'm Martha McCallum, and this, of course, is America's Newsroom, and there's so much coming in. We have new video that shows the United States military striking and setting fire to an Iranian drone carrier ship, roughly the size of a World War II aircraft carrier. And meanwhile, the Israeli military ramping up their pressure as well. They're pounding Beirut at this hour, ramping up operations against Hezbollah in its strongholds across Lebanon. And the IDF says that it's moving to its next phase amid this ongoing conflict with Iran, shifting the focus to eliminating Iran's missile program once and for all, as they begin the 15th wave of strikes in Tehran.
And CENTCOM says the U.S. and America's closest ally in the Middle East are weakening Iran's power.
Our combined joint forces have relentlessly destroyed Iran's air defenses over the past few days, and they've continued hunting for more systems to kill. Our air defenders are operating at the very top of their game. We are fighting to win. Through combined U.S. and Israeli combat power, we will continue decimating Iran's ability to project power outside its borders.
Fox team coverage, Jacqui Heinrich standing by at the White House, and House Intelligence Committee Chairman Rick Crawford is here. But first, let's go to Trey Yingst live in Tel Aviv. Hi, Trey.
Sandra, Dana, good morning. Just last night, the Israelis launched a massive strike against the Iranian capital of Tehran. Those strikes have continued even as recently as last hour. And we have some new video here showing the Israelis targeting the compound underground that Iran's former supreme leader had planned to hide in if any sort of attack were to take place against his country. The Israeli Air Force used over 50 fighter jets and 100 munitions to strike this underground bunker. And a senior Israeli official telling Fox News that when the supreme leader was killed, he was actually above ground. He never made it to the bunker that they destroyed overnight. And this official says the result was exactly what planners had hoped for. Khamenei stayed above ground, and the opening strike of Operation Epic Fury found him right there. Now, today, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is holding security consultations with his cabinet to determine the next steps in phase 2 of this operation. And again, we expect these strikes to expand and continue in the days ahead. The Iranians are still launching their attacks against Israel. Overnight, ballistic missiles soared through the skies of this country. You can see in some Fox News video here, one of those missiles overshooting its target and slamming into the Mediterranean Sea. This happened a number of times, and sirens sounding once again this morning across Tel Aviv. Now, the Israelis say they are dismantling Iran's ballistic missile launchers, hitting another 6 of those launchers overnight. And Israel's chief of staff had this to say earlier today about the ongoing operation.
I am in continuous contact with my American counterparts, including the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff of the United States, General Dan Kane, and the commander of CENTCOM, Admiral Brad Cooper. We are fighting based on shared interests and values. In this war, shoulder to shoulder, they are true friends. Through coordinated action, we are stripping the regime of its military capabilities and bringing it to strategic isolation and a point of weakness in which it has never been before.
The Israelis are looking east, but they're also looking north to the Iran-backed Lebanese militant group Hezbollah. They're striking Beirut hard overnight and into this morning. You could see that smoke earlier rising from the skyline in the Dakhia neighborhood in the southern part of Beirut. We expect the Israeli strikes to expand against Hezbollah in the days ahead as residents are reacting to their displacement of southern Beirut.
They threatened the Daya area, so we packed our things and left. Everyone left Daya. Now we're living a tragic life here, displaced. It's a miserable life. You know what it's like.
And today, Iran's leadership is speaking out about the ongoing war. Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian saying in a statement on X, some countries have initiated efforts for mediation. Our response to them is clear. We are committed to lasting peace in the region, but have not the slightest hesitation in defending the dignity and authority of our country. The audience for mediation should be those who, by underestimating the Iranian people, ignited the fire of provocation. Now, Iran's president did not speak about his country's ballistic missile program or nuclear aspirations. Dana, Martha?
Trey, I wanted to have you tell our audience more about what you learned about the overnight strike on Khamenei's bunker in Tehran.
Really interesting information coming into Fox News from a senior Israeli official indicating there was a coordinated deception campaign against the Iranians. And actually, on the Friday night into Saturday that Operation Epic Fury began, the Israelis sent home their top commanders for Shabbat dinner with their families. They were posting coordinated messages with the Americans and even a statement from President Trump, all to try to deceive Iranian leadership into thinking that no operation was about to begin. And this is why they believe Iran's supreme leader was above ground when the planes made their way to Iran. And they say even once those planes were entering Iranian airspace, the inner circle of the Ayatollah didn't think to get him underground, and it allowed this strike to take place that took out the supreme leader and also around 40-plus top Iranian officials. Martha, Dana?
Incredible, Trey. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you in a little bit.
Thank you, Trey. Let's go to Jacqui Heinrich over at the White House. Morning, Jacqui.
Good morning to you guys. President Trump just laid down the terms of this war. He posted to Truth Social, there will be no deal with Iran except unconditional surrender. After that, and the selection of a great and acceptable leader or leaders, we and many of our wonderful and brave allies and partners will work tirelessly to bring Iran back from the brink of destruction, making it economically bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. Meantime, as this toils on, the U.S. is all in on annihilating the regime. Today, leaders from big defense contractors like Lockheed Martin, RTX, and L3 Harris are expected to meet with President Trump to talk about ramping up weapons production, especially missile interceptors. The press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, just told me this meeting was previously scheduled, indicating it's not a direct response to the war in Iran. She said, quote, the U.S. military has more than enough munitions, ammo, and weapons stockpiles to continue demolishing the Iranian regime and finish Operation Epic Fury, no matter how long it lasts. Nevertheless, President Trump has always been intensely focused on strengthening our military, which is why this meeting with defense contractors was scheduled weeks ago. The president continues to call on these companies to more speedily build American-made weapons, which are the absolute best in the world. But the need to increase weapons production is compounded by this war in Iran and open questions about how long it could last, along with new reporting from the Washington Post this morning that Russia is providing Iran with targeting information on U.S. warships and aircraft to attack U.S. forces. But President Trump said yesterday the U.S. is rapidly achieving its goals with Iran's Navy, Air Force, and communications infrastructure decimated.
Drawing more of Iran's missiles and drone capability every single hour, knocking them out like nobody thought was possible. As soon as they set off a missile, within 4 minutes, the launcher gets hit. They don't know what's happening. But we have the greatest military anywhere in the world. Their Navy is gone. 24 ships in 3 days. That's a lot of ships.
The president said Iran is calling, looking to make a deal, to which he said it's a little late for that. But he called on all IRGC, military and police to lay down their arms and Iranian diplomats to request asylum for a chance at immunity. Otherwise, he says, death is guaranteed. Dana and Martha.
Jacqui, thank you.
For more on this, let's bring in Republican Congressman Rick Crawford of Arkansas. He's the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. We're about a week in, and Hegseth and Crawford said this last night.
What Iran is doing by targeting allied countries that would otherwise want to stay out of this, they've actually pulled them into the American orbit.
What I will point out is this is now the 12th country that Iran has attacked. 12 countries, and it goes right back to the Secretary's point. Those 12 countries are none too happy, and I look forward to working with all the partners who are willing to join us in this.
You know, it's hard just to ask you things that you can't talk about, which are classified, and so I'm curious if you could characterize for us the questions you are asking at this moment we are a week in, and all these other countries in the Gulf have been attacked by Iran, and now they are needing our help, and they are helping us as well.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic. What you would have expected would have been that the Iranians would try to engender some level of support from the Gulf state neighbors. Instead, they attacked them. That doesn't make any sense. My question was, and I think what we're seeing is the potential for the complete degradation of command and control, so that you have pockets here and there that are kind of acting unilaterally without any kind of cohesive leadership that may be leading to these strikes without any consideration. So they're just not communicating. I think these attacks have so degraded their ability to communicate and exercise centralized command and control that you're seeing these kinds of things continue. And I can't verify that's the case, but it seems like that might be what's contributing to these random attacks. And it's not just limited to the Gulf states, because it's my understanding that they launched an attack on others in the region. It's like they're just lashing out at every border nation that they have. I really don't understand it. It doesn't make sense. It's not having the desired effect. It's really driving those nations into our camp.
In the meantime, the Department of Homeland Security remains unfunded, and this was Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader of the House, yesterday.
A change in personnel is not sufficient. We need a change in policy. And that has to be bold, dramatic, transformational, and meaningful. At the moment, it's not like Kristi Noem was the one who was involved in negotiating anything. She was a corrupt lackey. So we were dealing with the White House before, and we're going to continue to deal with the White House at this point.
So now we are in hostilities with Iran, and Department of Homeland Security remains partially unfunded. And it just seems like what Hakeem Jeffries is talking about is, frankly, unreasonable. Like, the president is never going to agree to some of those things. Is there any sort of meeting of the minds happening behind the scenes we should know about?
Well, we've put forward some really reasonable suggestions. For example, body cameras. Yeah. Who doesn't want body cams? Let's do that. Even the officers say, let's have body cams. It makes sense. It actually protects them as much as it does the general public. So, yeah, let's do that. No, that's not good enough. Then, they want to demask. Well, I've got a suggestion on identifying officers without giving away personal identifying information that's not tied to their badge number, that doesn't divulge their personal information or their address, so that they can protect their families. Nope, that's not good enough. Got to demask. These are the same people that were forcing everybody to wear a mask not long ago, but now they're trying to demask ICE agents. And don't forget about this attack that took place down in Austin. Now, I'm not suggesting that was directly handled by or instigated by or ordered by Iran or their proxies. But when you show up to the bar wearing a Property of Allah sweatshirt and you've got an Iranian flag in your truck, that's a pretty good indication who you're acting on whose behalf you're acting. And so we need to be conscious of the fact that we have a high threat level here in the United States, and now it's not the time to try to score political points on national security.
Rick Crawford, thank you. I know you're very busy. We appreciate you joining us today as we enter into the weekend. Thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.